I'm here with Tom and Jerry. We're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody. Oh my god. So if you are a Queen fan, this film is amazing. This is a biopic of Freddie Mercury and Queen, obviously. And this is the thing, and this is what this film addresses as well, that sometimes when we think of Queen, we always remember Freddie Mercury and Brian May. And who are the other two guys? We don't know. But yeah, that's something that the film does address. But also, it follows Freddie Mercury from the beginning to the end. And it begins with him at home, and then ends with Live Aid. And what an amazing story. And like a lot of it gives context. And I don't know if this was shaped to, the songs were placed and stuff, and I don't know if they were the real inspirations for the song, but definitely follows him through his life, and the songs are very appropriate at those moments. So I don't know whether they are the real genesis of those moments. These songs came from those moments and then they were placed aptly in the storyline, but oh my gosh, so emotional in terms of just really hard hitting in terms of the context of the time it was, so for me, Freddie Mercury, for me, what I remember of Freddie Mercury is that he was gay and that he had AIDS and he died of AIDS. This story tells a different story, and how he came to how he was portrayed in the media, and how perhaps he did contract AIDS, but the way that it came across, or the way it was told, was something I never would have fathomed. And his genesis, I had no idea about his, and like I said, if it's true, that's great. And I learned new things about Freddie Mercury and the Queen story, and it was amazing to watch, literally. And like I said, if you're a fan of the music, then it comes at great times. It comes at, it's definitely told in a way that contextualizes where the genesis of those songs, and they come in, there's not an inappropriate song that comes in at an inappropriate time, and it gives that the different stories to where they came from, and I loved it. And I have this amazing memory. So I used to play piano as a younger person, because it's the Asian thing to do, right? You send your kid off to piano lessons, to music lessons, or whatever. But I'm afraid I'm a part of that stereotype. So, but I love music generally. So when I was younger, I had a greatest hits album, of like a Queen's greatest hits album, and I had the sheet music for it. It was a black book with the iconic 4 figures of Queen. And when I was about 13, 14, 12, 13, year 8 in the UK school system, we had an art project. We did art because it's compulsory until year 9, till you're about sort of 14, 15, to do art as just a compulsory subject. Anyway, so in my year 8 class, we were asked to sort of take an image, or to create an image, and I can't remember what exactly it was, the art project, but I remember using that the cover of that book, of that music book, and it was basically Freddie Mercury holding his mic stand, and he doesn't hold the whole thing, he holds like the top part of it, and just the band in the background, and that sort of, I suppose, what do they call it, not a montage, what is it? It's a tableau, that's it. It was a tableau of sort of Queen in their element, this idea of Freddie Mercury holding that thing, and I wanted to capture that. And I think there was a picture in that book that I draw inspiration from, and I always remember that art project. And I don't even remember what I made from it, whether it was a picture, whether it was a sculpture or something, but I'll always remember that art class because of that image. And so much of our sort of musical influences. And if you don't know about Queen and you don't know about the story, definitely watch this biopic and you'll give you context to some of those songs. But if you don't know about the stuff and you're not a Queen fan, I'm 80% sure that you've heard a Queen song, even if you're not a Queen fan. Radio Gaga, Don't Stop Me Now, these really anthemic songs, We Will Rock You, you can't not have heard these songs, and they're used in lots of different films and stuff. And for me also, I found out about a lot of Queen songs through different films. So they're used in Happy Feet, Someone to Love, they're Gloria and Mumble, they're on an ice cap, and she's singing to the penguins, because she's not the only female, but she's a female centric character that is looking for a mate, I guess. And Mumble is a potential, but he's sort of the underdog in the story. But there's this whole sort of clan of, I don't know what you call a flock of penguins, but there's this whole community of penguins that she's singing, and everybody's singing with her. It's a great movie. Again, I'll review it in another video, but to give context to why I'm talking about it, is that song is quite it's a part of that film because it's so iconic. And again, in Moulin Rouge, The Show Must Go On, The Show Must Go On, there's so many, I'm sure there are, but The Show Must Go On, and I hadn't heard of that song until I heard it in Moulin Rouge, and to hear it in Bohemian Rhapsody was amazing, because the genesis of that song, and it's, I think, when you follow the story from beginning to end, you're the first scene is one of just sort of generic going up to a stage, and then once you see and you follow through his story, and then it goes back to Live Aid where he's going onto stage, and it's made that much more emotional, because you see him at first by himself going on stage, and then you see him going on with the band, and that transition, or that sort of that cutaway, it's very deliberate. And I love this about sort of direction film, that everything is very deliberate. Song choices, music choices, and especially with sort of the iconic Queen, it's great. And the reason why they're called Queen, it's great. And I'm not gonna rob you of the reason by telling you now. I encourage you to watch it because it is an amazing film. And yeah, I mean, like, literally I teared up at some moments because I was just so invested in the story, and I was so, and there are villains in the story, and they're not who you think they are at first, and it's really interesting to see how Freddie Mercury got sucked into his lifestyle, and perhaps why he contracted AIDS, or you don't know, and think, well, this is what. So for me, stuff is really subtle, and it's, you read between the lines, and there are some amazing quotes, like something like being human. I think there was something about, yeah, humanity. We all need something about an anesthetic. Oh yeah, being human requires some anesthesia. What an amazing line. And perhaps he didn't say that, but that's a testament to great writing and this biopic story that is being told. And even if he didn't say it, it was made that much cooler by being in this film, by him saying it and living. It's an ode to Freddie Mercury, and definitely it gives context to who he was as a person. And you know, Raimi, I can't even remember, and Mr. Robot himself, his take on Freddie, and his transformation throughout the film, and even at the very beginning, the mannerisms and just his aesthetic, like the teeth, the kind of, you know, persona, and the kind of, you know, mannerisms that he holds in his person, it's remarkable. And like when I saw the trailer, or when I was showed the trailer, I was told that, you know, he looks amazing and that Queen is coming back. I'm like, what? How is this possible? Are they like recreating him digitally? Because he looked like him. He looks like him. He's and the characters like Brian May, he's got the hair and he's very iconic with his hair. And it's really, you know, it really takes from real life, and it feels like that's a true representation. And I don't know, because it's a biopic and I'm being told what I'm seeing, but from what I know and what I've seen in the past, sort of just watching that Live Aid concert, the 1985 Live Aid concert, it's amazing. And then given the context of all the songs and stuff, it's made that much more epic by, you know, the story and the context of where those songs come from, and then sort of seeing his journey from becoming Freddie to unfortunately dying of AIDS. It's such a, see, now I'm getting really emotional just talking about it. I think it's just an ode, I guess, an ode, a memorial, a song, just a true, honest, and yeah, just, I'm trying to think of the word, this idea of it's not a platitude, because platitudes are just whatever, but it's so much more. It's deeper. It's, you know, the cast, it feels like they were invested in telling his story and telling it really well. The director made it aesthetically look, or I don't know if it was the director, but like everybody involved, costume designers, stylists, they brought Queen back. They brought Queen alive. They created the aesthetic of these characters, and then the actors brought the essence of these characters, people, the human stories. And this is what I love about film, and I've said it in a lot of my videos, that the stories that are being told on screen to us here, they're nothing without the human nature of it. And that's why we connect to stories, we connect to films, because of their human nature. And even if we don't know that we're doing that, the reason we like films is because of the human connection, and that you see humanity in the stories, in the happy, in the sad, in the conniving, in the, you know, all this kind of stuff. And this film really brings it to life. And for me, Freddie and the actor who plays him does such an amazing job, because he's not overblown with his sort of gayness as it was referenced in the film, or like it's not gayer, but I think what he does with the character, he makes Freddie camp, and it's believable. And there is a fine line between being, you know, overly camp and overly gay to understated and, you know, not gay at all, or straight as it were. So there's that really, you know, that spectrum that he plays with as his character. And I think it's, you know, it sort of goes towards sort of it sort of flits, and then the storyline with a potential love interest, with potential love interests, is really interesting to watch, because his take on how he approaches it is incredibly moving. And some of it is really sad sometimes when you see his emotional turmoil. And for me, it's about connection, the connection that he has with himself, with other people, with his minions, with, you know, just people in general, and with himself in general. And I think have a coughing fit, but I think you see it throughout the whole film that there is this underlying theme of connection and lack of it, and too much of it, and it was just very, very moving. And on this note, it's not corona, I promise. I just have a dry throat. But I'm going to end it there, because watch it. If you're a Queen fan, you'll get it. If you're not, then you will get it. And if you love music, you'll get it. And I just, R.I.P. and in loving memory of Freddie Mercury. Wait, other hand. I salute you. Let's do it. Oh, really rubbish call. I salute you.